All right, guys, it is our first review. We just completed our first full week of homeschooling or unschooling. We started actually last week, but it was like half of a week. So I thought it was kind of crazy that first week. So I thought, I'll wait until after the first full week to do our first video. So I'm going to do this at least, I don't know, for the first month, 2 months, I'll do a weekly video because I have a feeling it's going to be so new and we're probably going to have a lot of changes. And then maybe I'll just do it like every month, every other month. I mean, we'll see how this thing goes. But I wanted to give you an idea of how the first full week went. And the format I'm going to use is this. I'm going to mention some good things that I think we did really well. I'll talk about some things that I think we could do better. And then if there's anything that I see that's on the horizon, like something I'm excited about, or, we kind of started to do this week, or something that's, I don't know, exciting, I'll mention that as well. Because that's kind of something to maybe check in on another update. Okay, and I have a little list. Okay, so the first good thing is, yay, we made it. So we are officially an unschooling family, at least for 2 of my 4 kids. And we got through it, which, yes, I view it as an accomplishment because we didn't know what we were doing. We still don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of doing what feels natural. So that's my first win is, hey, we made it through and we're learning, right? So the second win, I think, for this week is that we decided to create a schedule. And I know there's a lot of unschooling families that don't have a schedule, but for my girls coming from a public school system where everything like changes every 15 to 30 minutes, I really felt like they needed a schedule. Will we always have a schedule? I don't know. But in creating this schedule, I did it with my girls and we planned out what we were going to do. Now, not exactly, but we want to hit, certain subjects each week. We want to make sure we're practicing. They have a foreign language they're practicing. I also want to make sure that they're getting outside every day. I want to make sure that there's like an art project or cooking or something that's kind of outside of the school norm. An experiment. We did a science experiment this week. So I want to make sure there's something like that happening as well. And the way my mind works, and because I work from home and I have other responsibilities too, I really need some sort of schedule, a loose schedule to figure this out. So we came up with a schedule that works for us. So just to give you an idea, on Monday and Wednesday, it's kind of the same schedule. On Tuesday and Thursday, it's kind of the same schedule as far as studying specific subjects. We have Fridays, which is today, is kind of our free day, our YouTube day, where we're going to be recording our videos and kind of reflecting on what we did throughout the week, because I think that's an important part of the process is, think about your accomplishments and reward your accomplishments, feel good about that. And also think about, the week ahead and what would you do a little bit differently. So we have a schedule. Yay! And the other good thing is I am learning how self-sufficient my girls really are, which I already kind of knew. For example, they're cleaners. They love to clean the house. Now, I like cleaning too. I guess I should change that. I like having a clean house, and I'm willing to clean as I go. Like the house doesn't have to be sterile, but if there's stuff all over the floor, it will drive me crazy. And part of that is probably because I work out of the house too, right? And if things are a mess, I can't focus. And my girls are similar to me, but I wasn't sure, is that going to extend into their schoolwork? And it has, which is a really good thing. So they are very self-sufficient and they come up with new ideas all the time on what to do. And if something isn't working for us, then we adjust the situation. So I think that that's a really good thing. So those are my wins for the week. Now I have some things that they're not necessarily bad. These are things that I think that we could work on moving forward. And honestly, we're not going to fix this in a week, right? These are just things that you learn when you're learning from home. The first is, so my twin girls, they do kind of go at it sometimes not like full on fighting, but disagreeing a lot. And before, they could fight about something, but then they went to school and they were in separate classrooms. So they could, just kind of chill out. And then they were best friends at recess again, right? Because they they don't hold grudges for a long period of time. But here it is a little bit different. So they get in fights, and we're still trying to figure out what to do about that, because I don't want to be the mediator all the time. I think that there's a good opportunity here for kids to problem solve on their own. That doesn't mean that I'm just going to let them duke it out. But if I'm trying to teach them real world lessons, you're going to get in fights and you're going to argue with people at work and whatever. And you have got to figure out a way to calm yourself down, to talk it through. So we're working on that. Right now, it's kind of like sibling rivalry and they're just kind of going at it. And I'm trying to figure out, when do I step in? When do I just allow them to hash it out themselves? So, case in point, today they wanted to put this tent in the backyard. So they put up this tent, but they were fighting constantly about, this isn't being done the right way or whatever. And then one girl would like run in the house and slam the door. And I'm going, okay, do I go out there and try to help them with this tent? And I decided not to. And it was a little rough there for a while. And there were some not so nice words said, nothing too bad. And I would throw out hints. I would say, okay, you guys need to work on this together. You need to compromise. If you're yelling and screaming at each other, you're not listening to one another. So I would throw out things like that. And then they settled down and they put the tent together and they cooperated with each other. So I thought that that was a really good thing. So fighting, I gotta figure that out somehow. And then in general, and adults have a really hard time with this too, is distractions. If you work from home, you know what I'm talking about. It's very easy when you work from home to think, oh, I need to go change the laundry. I need to go do this. And because there's stuff around the house that needs to be done. But you learn pretty quickly that you're not going to get much work done if you're constantly distracted with things that are around you. Now, my girls are starting to figure that out too, which I think this is a good thing, to be able to put certain things aside and really focus. And it's something you really have to train yourself to do. It's not like, oh, squirrel, I'm off to something else. That was a thing in the beginning with the lessons too. So they would do like a lesson online. We're using some different apps online. And I said, you have to finish this lesson. Even though your time is up or whatever, you have to finish this lesson. So, they would get distracted like with the dog. They love the dog, which I love the dog too. But when you're working, you're working. And, when you're doing your learning, you're learning. And if you can do that and pet the dog, great. But most of the time, especially in the beginning with young kids, that's a distraction. So we're still figuring out, is it good that they, have their laptops in bed with them? Or is that too casual? Do they actually need to get out of the bed and go to a couch? Or do they need to be in separate areas while they work? Because are they distracting one another? So that's something that is going to be a work in progress. And I'll keep you guys updated on that. And then something that I'm excited about that's kind of like up and coming is, I feel like, because we're having to think more about lessons and what they're going to be learning. We're starting to as a family, I think, get a little bit more creative and do more things outside of the house. At least we're talking about doing that. So we have lived here for, well, at least I've lived here for about 20 years now. And so there's a lot of things that we haven't done here. So because, you get caught up in work, you have just like your regular life. But there's things that we want to do for the girls for their learning. And these are kind of fun things that have always been here that we really haven't taken advantage of. So, for example, my husband was talking about possibly going down to San Diego to this boat, where they take you out on a boat and you learn more about sea life and things like that. And I was like, gosh, I mean, I guess this gives us a reason to do more of that. Not that you necessarily need a reason, but it just kind of makes being here more fun. And I can see that benefiting the whole family, not just the girls for their curriculum. So that's my list for this week: the good, the bad, the ugly, and the hopeful. And so thanks for listening and watching. And I will have another report next week.